Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Praise the mighty Yah. Every week we've been learning a lot about how the Most High has been dealing with this group of people called the sons and the daughters of Israel, Bnei Israel, the house of Yaakov, the descendants of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. This week we found that the Most High has decided to send a group of men one from each tribe into a land that he has promised to give to their ancestors. Earlier this week, we found out some of the names of those men and what their character was and how they were supposed to carry out this mission. They did what he asked them to do, which is to follow the command to go to the land. So they did that part. But what they did when they came back is that they began to spread a negative report about the land after they had said that it was good and that it had good fruit. They brought evidence of that. They talked about, the people, the inhabitants. They talked about how the city was laid out. But yet and still, after following the command to go, or to when they were sent to go tour this land, they didn't have, I would say, the fortitude, the mindset in order to go in to occupy the land. I truly believe the Most High has sent those individuals in order to reveal what was inside of their minds and what was inside of the people's minds. And so we often see that whatever people want is what they gravitate towards. So when they started complaining, everybody joined in except for a few individuals out of millions of people. Okay, I just want to make that clear. We're talking about millions of people, all right, that listened to these individuals, these 10 individuals that came back, and they had already made their mind up that they didn't want to go into this land for whatever reason. And we're going to discuss that today. I began this Torah portion study off for today for Shabbat with this idea that I mentioned on Yom Kamishi, which is the Most High is letting us know that the goal of everything is for the world, the whole entire earth, to be filled with the glory of Yahweh. This is in chapter number 14, verse number 21, where this statement, after the Most High was deciding about, whether or not he was going to destroy Israel, Moshe pleaded and asked the Most High to remember what the Most High had said, right? And the Most High said that, based upon the word that you have spoken, the word that he spoke was the very words that the Most High had mentioned earlier in Exodus chapter number 34, where he describes himself about him being a merciful Elohim, full of grace. He's full of truth. He does forgive crimes. He does forgive sins. And then surely after that, he said, I forgive them. I forgive them. Okay, so forgiveness was given based upon the name of the Most High. But also, too, he's letting us know here, this is like a very cryptic message, meaning that as surely as I'm alive, like I'm never going to die, the whole earth will be filled with the glory of Yahweh. It would be filled with it. And so this is the purpose why he sent the scouts to this land. He sent them to this land in order to let the sons of Israel know, like, this is what I have in store for you. Okay. So he sent them, he sent agents to scout out the land, which I'm giving to the sons of Israel. Send one participant from each of their ancestral tribes, and each one a chieftain, a prince among them, one of their leaders. The agents that he sent was out there to scout. That means to spy, to search out this land. I want you to search it out, and I want you to do it in a way that allows you to see what's going on. So we're going to deal today with that idea of scout. Okay. It's something that sometimes we overlook, but I'm going to show you what it really means. The Hebrew word for scouting or spying is called tour. Just like the idea when we say we're going to go take a tour. If you go somewhere, you say, I'm going to go take a tour somewhere. That's the actual pronunciation of the word, is called tour. Okay. Just like you went to go take a tour. All right. So to take a tour means that you're going to go and you're going to travel. Okay. And so when you're on this tour and you're walking and you're doing this, you see how the connection between our English word tour and this one right here called tour. So you can remember this word really easily. Okay. And it means to take a tour, it means to travel. And so I'm going to break this word down for us so we can look at it more from a Hebraic perspective. Okay. So I'm going to send the sons of Israel to go take a tour. The first letter that's being used in that word tour is called ta. Okay. And a ta, that's the name of the letter. It represents the letter T in English as in toy, right? And also has that sound, that T sound. A lot of you who've been in my Hebrew class already know this, so just bear with the others who may not know. And so what it represents from a Hebraic perspective is two sticks. And when I say two sticks, what am I saying? I'm saying that, let me let someone in right quick. What I'm saying is when you talk about two sticks, the actual Hebrew is about like this, is two sticks. Okay. So that's where you get this letter T. Okay. Put your device on mute. Thank you. So you get two sticks, right? So that's what a T is, two sticks, right? So when you have the two sticks, it means something, okay? So here is just positioned where it looks like it's a T, but often religious people would call it a cross, okay? And a Hebraic understanding, we're going to find that that actually means something else, okay? So two sticks. So we see that we're talking about, something that can be found in agriculture, okay? So the two sticks would be wood, right? In our Torah portion this week, in chapter number 15, there was some sticks that were mentioned. Somebody tell me.
Someone was found gathering on Shabbat.
Yes, somebody was gathering sticks on the Shabbat, okay? And we know what happened to that person, okay? So what does it mean? So the two sticks actually mean a mark. That's what it means, okay? It's a mark. So when you put the two sticks together, it's a mark. Kind of like if I say, you have a little, a map or something, and you have a road, a thing, and then here's your destination. They usually mark it with an X, a mark at the end to let you know that this is your destination. This is where you're going. This is the plan. This is the goal. Okay. That's the goal. To get from here, right? You're right here and you're going to travel and you're going to go all the way to your destination. So that's what that letter means. Okay. It means a mark. Okay. So let's look at the next letter. That's part of this word called tour, which is to spy. The next letter, that's what you call, a resh, okay? And a resh is literally like an R as in ruler, okay? So it has the same sound. If you can see, there is a connection between the way that these look. So one is going this direction and one is going that direction, okay? So what they've done is just reversed it. So you got an R like that. Forgive me, the pen. A R going that way, and then you have a R going this way. You see? So that's easy for us to remember. All right. So it has the same sound as a ruler. So this has the same sound, identical, that the R has in English. So only difference between English and Hebrew is two things. Number one, the letters look different. Okay. They're similar, but they look different. So you don't know that. You didn't know that the name of the letter is called resh versus R, because in English, they don't give you the actual name. They just give you the letter and the sound. So you didn't know what it looks like, and you didn't know that it has a name. And the last thing you didn't know is what does it represent? Okay. So what it represents in Hebrew is a head. And they're talking about a head of a man. Okay, or the head of a mountain, which is the summit or the top. Okay, so when you put those two together, right? These two letters together. And you say, well, where about the wa? I didn't include the wa because the wa is not, it does have significance, but a wa is just basically a tent peg, meaning make a connect. So basically that wa that you have in the word Tor, that's usually going right here, is just making a connection between this letter and this letter. That's what it's doing. That's how it's functioning. So Tor means to travel or to take a tour or to spy. But this one here called tar, which is the root of the word, means a mark of a man, mark of man. And what do we mean by a mark of man? Okay. Meaning that man, when he has to mark something out, what he's doing is he's looking to find the border. He's when a man is discovering something, like for example, I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie with Tom Cruise in It, Talk Far and Away. What they did was that he would run and they would have these markers in their hand, and every time they go to a part of a land for their border, they would put a mark. They would put a mark on the place where they had set their border. So they, when they run over, they put a stake right here, and then they run to this other side of the land. They put a stake right here in the ground. Then they run across here and they put another stake, and then right here they put another one. And then they put another one, and then all of a sudden now you got a connection, and it creates a border. Okay, and which we would say would be a boundary. Okay, so the Most High is asking the children of Israel to go and to go spy out what? Go spy out the boundaries, right? Go look and see inside within these boundaries and find out what's inside of the land, right? So they're doing this. They're going on mountains. They're walking by rivers. They're walking by streams. They're literally taking a tour, okay? So they're not just spying in a sense like we're just going to go sneak up on these people and we're just concerned about the inhabitants of the land. No, the Most High is telling them, I want you to go seek out all these different aspects of the land. I want you to go look at it all right? And there's a reason for that. Because you're trying to find out, well, what does this have to do with me and how does this work in my life? Well, I'm going to show you, okay? I'm going to show you what the Most High has revealed to me through the study of the Hebrew language. When Moshe sent them to scout, which is to tour the land, okay, of Canaan, he said to them, go up there into Negev, which is the south, and into the hill country and see what kind of country it is. So I'm going to deal with the country itself, and then also are the people who dwell in it strong or weak? I want to know that. I also want to know if they're few or many. Also, is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns that they live in open or fortified? Is the soil rich or poor? Is it wooden or not? And take some pains to bring back some of the fruit of the land. Now, it happened to be the season of the first ripe grapes, which I didn't want to go into today, but basically the season of the first ripe grapes is depending on where you are in the hemisphere of the land. So we have our northern hemisphere and our southern hemisphere on the earth. And so the northern hemisphere versus the summer hemisphere, the seasons are different. And if I'm not mistaken, the first fruits are the grapes for some places of the northern are between August and I think go all the way up to October. Okay, August, September, October. Yes, it's literally like a 3-month season. And the other one would be from September, which I think would be the southern, all the way to November. Okay, so when we're trying to find out what part of the land this is at in connection to when the Most High had gave them the command to go, it actually isolates the children of Israel to this time. They're going from this time. So it was the northern hemisphere. So when you go on Google, look up hemispheres and you'll see northern, you'll see southern. So we know that the time, according to when he told them to erect the tabernacle, that this was at a time when it only made sense after he gave them instructions for them to get prepared to go at this time. Okay, so they went between August and October. That's the time that they went. Okay, so there's two different. So when you talk about grape season, we're not talking about, in just one time. So grape season in some places are different than it is for others. So you got to know which hemisphere you're talking about. Okay, so my point is that, which is interesting. which is really interesting. I want you to keep in your mind, okay? I want you to keep this in your mind, okay? So, hemisphere. So, when you talk about your brain, okay? When you talk about your brain, I know you guys are not medical experts, but how many hemispheres do you have in your brain?
Two.
You got two, okay? You got your right and you got your left. And in that right and the left, it's broken up into 4 quadrants, okay? So you got 2 hemispheres in your brain, and you got 4, and it's divided into four parts, okay? I think one is the frontal lobe. The second one is called the parietal lobe. And then you have your occipital. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. The occipital, which is in the back, parietal, frontal, and then your temporal, which is the side. So you have 4 divided hemispheres, 4 quads to your brain, okay? So in each one of these divisions, they operate and they control different parts of, your body. For example, one controls your speech, one controls your muscles, one controls your vision. Your occipital is dealing with your eyes, your temporal, that helps other things. So you want to probably do some research on your own and find out about these hemispheres. Okay, and you say, well, why are you mentioning this? Because what the Most High is going to tell us today is that you and I were thinking that he was just sending them to check out the land of Canaan, and he's sending them to find out whether there's a weakness or there's strength there, or is something good or bad, or something, open for, or something fortified, or something strengthened, or something that's not strengthened. Is the soil, is it rich or is it poor? Is it of good quality? What's inside of the soil? Does it have trees or does it not? Is it barren? So we look at all these different things and we go right over it, and then we go right over the fact that it was in a season of ripe. So we don't understand that in different parts of the world, there's hemispheres. So the Most High has revealed that, okay, so I'm talking about a land. And literally what I'm trying to get you to understand is I'm not just talking about a land. I'm talking about your mind. That's what I'm talking about for you. I sent the sons of Israel into the land for them to make some assessments and for them to take note. And I had them tour it in order to find out whether it was good or whether it was bad or whether it was strengthened and whether or not the inhabitants and the ones who were occupying that land were, what were they like? Okay. And so you would say, well, I'm not going into the land like that. We're not gonna have to deal with that. So why are you telling me the story? Well, the Most High is letting us know that I'm actually you to actually do something like I asked him to do. I'm asking you to tour your mind. I need you to go through your borders. Okay. That's what I need you to do. I need you to go through your borders. And I found this in the Torah. It became apparent to me in chapter number 15, verse number 38, where the Most High tells the sons of Israel through Moshe, he says, speak to the sons of Israel and instruct them to make for themselves fringes. I need them to make tzitzit, okay? And on their corners of their garments throughout the ages, generations, and let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe of the tzitzit at each corner, okay? So I'm going to discuss this. Now, I know that I'm jumped just from you touring your mind. You said, well, you just said that, but can you make sense of it for me? So I'm going to make sense of this for us, okay, to show you what the Most High is talking about. So he's asking for them to make fringes and for tzitzit, right? And tzitzit really means, it has this idea to deal with a blossom, okay? It means to blossom. It means to grow, right? So that means growth. And to blossom, it means that you need to grow and you need to develop, okay? So I'm asking you to grow and I'm asking you to develop, all right? Where I want you to do is I need you to put these on the corners of your garments, okay? The corners, of your garments. It means something. Also, too, I want you to put a blue color there, okay, on the fringe of the tzitzit, okay? And then we're going to talk a little bit about that, but it has to be on the corners, okay, at each corner, okay? When we talk about a corner, we're literally talking about 4 places, okay? When you talk about a corner, you're talking about a square, okay? If you're talking about a square, you can divide it into 4 corners, okay? So each one of these corners right here, I need you to have it. So if you have a garment on, I want you to put it on the 4 corners. And I'm not just talking to the sons of Israel. I'm talking about to the daughters of Israel. I'm talking to those who have joined with the community of Israel. Okay. So this is an identification marker. Okay. So the 4 corners. Okay. So literally, if you think about it, it's talking about not on the corners, but it's talking about boundaries. Okay. So I need you to put this on the 4 boundaries. Okay. So if it's on the boundaries, then what we're talking, that's the corner. Inside of the corner, or excuse me, inside of this box or in the corners, there's something. Okay. And let me just use an eraser right here to show you something. Let me show you, where's the eraser? So you already, let me get right here. So now that you know there's 4 of those there, let me show you now. Thank you for bearing with me. Here you go. You. Okay. So if you're wearing this garment, you're in the center of the garment. Okay. Everybody understand this? We're looking down on it right now. You're wearing it and it has 4 corners. That means that there's a boundary around you. Would you all agree? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So these are your boundaries. Listen carefully. So I want you to put this on because you're the one I'm interested in. You're the one I'm talking to. Okay. Sons of Israel. So I want you to have your borders. And on your borders, I need you to put this color. Okay. So here it is. So what it is, listen. That color that they have for blue is called Tekalith. 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 Okay. Tekalith is not blue. Tekalith is violet. Okay. Is the color violet. It's within the blue spectrum. Okay. But on, and you can do your research and go find out. When you talk about light, I know you guys heard of what they call, sometimes you get your television, or you might get some kind of electrical cord, and it might say RGB. You guys ever seen that?
Yes.
Okay. So the R, and probably Lucas knows about this, is red. The G right here is the green. And the B is the blue. Those are your what? Primary colors. Primary colors come from light. Okay. On a scale, without getting too technical, violet is right next to blue. Okay. And then violet starts here and it goes this way. Okay. And the difference between violet and ultraviolet, you know how you ever hear them call it ultraviolet? Okay. Ultraviolet. They call it ultraviolet rays or light. So you can't see this light. Okay. Listen carefully. Ultraviolet rays you cannot see. It's a color, though. It's a color of light, but it's unseen to the human eye. What the Most High has said is, I want you to put this color on you because it's right next to the light that can't be seen. Oh my goodness. Praise the mighty Yah. I want you to put a color that is right next to the light that cannot be seen. I didn't choose red, and I didn't choose green. I didn't choose blue. I chose violet. Okay. So on the range, okay, and I don't have the chart up here, but on the range, you can see that this light is right next to ultraviolet, a light that can't be seen. Okay. It's still light. But he's saying this color is the closest. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Violet is the closest light, the closest color, the closest light, because violet is light, not just a color. It's a light. You and I are beings of light, okay? So I want you to put the color that I'm telling you that is the closest to ultraviolet, where you can't see it. This is light. It's not just a color. I hope everybody can understand that. So for example, everyone, I'm a skincare therapist. And one of the things that they taught us is about how ultraviolet light can damage a person if you're exposed to it, right? And they call it UVA, okay? And then they got UVB lights. This is ultraviolet A, alphas, and ultraviolet beta lights. These lights can damage you. They're like radiation, okay? So this in particular light right here is, and this one too, is very detrimental to a person, okay? That means that this light can go through, some of this light can go straight through clothes. It can go right through your clothes, okay? So when we talk about this color, the only way a person can see a color is with light. So the Most High has introduced light, the sun, in order for you to see different colors. So for example, when the light is out today on Shabbat, you can look outside like me right now and I see trees, but I also see the color of those trees. Some are dark green and some are light green. I see some colors in flowers and so forth and so on. When the light goes out, can I see the color? When it's darkness, can you see any color? No, you cannot see any color. You will not see anything. The reason why you don't see anything is because there is no light. So what the Most High has done, our reality is this. When you look at these plants, you look at these flowers and you see these colors, those colors, what they would call are pigments, right? So this is what they use. They take those colors out of those plants or whatever and create pigments. They create colors from that. That's what you get at your paint store. So these colors that you see right here are programmed into the creation. So for example, when the Most High said, I'm gonna make this tree right here, I'm gonna program it to where when they see it, it's gonna reflect green. When they see grass, it's gonna reflect green. When they see a rose, it's gonna reflect red, depending on what I programmed it to be. That's the beauty of light. So light reveals the things that are programmed or what's in something, okay? Does everyone kind of follow what I'm saying? I know I got a little scientific there, but you can't see anything, any color without any light. And so the Most High said, I want you to put this in particular color on you because it not only represents a color, but its position where it's at in the spectrum of color, it's at the very end of the spectrum of color, meaning that it's still a color, but it's the closest to where you can't see. So you're right next to something that can't be seen. That's the reason why. That's a beautiful thing. Yes, Lucas.
I dropped the very image that you are looking for in chat if you want that a direct link.
Oh, praise the mighty Yah. Praise the mighty Yah. You guys still see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you see that? Look at that. Okay. So what the Most High has done is he has put us over here. We're right here. So ultraviolet is right there at ultraviolet. Ultraviolet, you can't see. You can't see it. Do you understand? So that's how close we are. Okay. That's how close we are. Okay. And the wavelengths are short, and that's a whole nother subject. But thank you, Lucas, for bringing that out. So the Most High is saying in this color deal here, and then, of course, they spread it out for us to see all the different colors. He's saying you need to be you're closer to me over here next to the light that can't be seen. All right, that's that UV. Okay, praise the mighty Yah. Thank you, Lucas. Now, why would the Most High give us this color? Found within the name of the color, everyone, is the root, the parent root called kol, okay, which is a kaf and lamed. That in particular word, okay, kol means a staff in the palm, okay? That means the palm is the first letter, which is a kaf right here. And the staff is this one. So the staff in the hand, and what do you do with a staff in your hand? Well, what a person do with a staff in their hand? Okay, what they're doing is they're walking with it, but you're overall. Kol means to be overall, okay? Over everything. That means that you're doing something to it. It's completed. You're making it complete. So when the Most High is saying to us about, I want this color on you, what I'm saying is, I want all of you. I want all of you. I want everything on you. So everything, again, going back to our box, okay, going back, because this is where it's at. If I told you that I want it on every last one of your corners, and he said to make a thread so your tzitzit can be any other color you want it to be, but it better have this tekalith as one of the threads is longer where you can see it. Okay, so I want all of you because everything is you. You're inside of the box. So on your boundaries and on your borders, I want everything. Do you understand? That's what I want. I want everything. I want you to be complete. You're not complete without your tzitzit. You're not complete without your tzitzit. Because your tzitzit means, a part of your tzitzit means I'm going to tame you. You're tamed. I'm taming you. I'm going to complete you. I'm going to have control over everything. I have all of you. The staff is in my hand and I'm controlling you. And you're going to get ready for service. I'm preparing you to be complete for service. So what they use the staff for in agriculture is they used to use the staff to tame the field and the seed. Okay, so once the seed gets to the ground, they would use the staff to kind of push it to where it needs to go. They didn't do it by hand. When a tree was growing wrong, they would take a piece of wood, which is a staff, and they would put it on the side of the tree so it can grow straight. So it could be upright. Okay. If you put a seed in the wrong place, it won't grow up upright. It won't be tamed. You understand? It's like brushing your hair. You got to tame your hair. You see? When you have children, you have to tame your children. When you have an employee, you have to train them, which is taming them. See? So what it is the Most High is saying that these tzitzits are really there to train you. They're there to complete you. They're there to make you understand something. Okay? So he uses this to get our attention. Because since I'm going to frame you out like I would a lamb. Okay? So I want you to be tamed. I want that mind to be tamed. So if I'm asking you to take a tour in your mind, I'm asking you to go ahead and go through it like Moshe told his sons of Israel, which was by the command of the Most High. Yah, I need you to go in there and find out if it's strong. I want you to see if there's some strong places. I want you to see if there's any weaknesses that exist in you. I want you to see if there's anything, any other voices that are inside of your head that shouldn't be there, like the giants that were inside of this land. I want you to find out if you're open or are you fortified? Do you have a strong wall of defense? Or are you just open for anything? Is your soil, are you cultivating good things inside of your mind? Within our word Torah, as you can see on your right-hand side, all you need to do is throw a on there, and you have the word Torah, which means light searches. Because Torah is light. And when you take your tour in your mind, when you go on tour, okay, when you go walking and traveling through the recesses into the boundaries of your brain, which is your land and your soil, I want you to go with something. I want you to bring light. That's what I want you to bring. I hope you can see the connection between those two words. They share a root. So we found out that this means the mark of a man, to get to the destination. You can't get to your destination without light, because you are dwelling in darkness without light. I'm reminding you of this light, of the invisible light, by having you have something on you to remind you of how close you are to the invisible, which I'm bringing the Torah to you so you can do your search. So you're not going out in darkness. I want you to go out and search your mind with light. For the commandment is the lamp that you need, and the teaching, which they have in English is teaching, but if you look down in the Hebrew right here, there is our word Torah. The Torah is the teaching that one needs, because that is the light. And the way of life is the rebuke that disciplines. So when you find out, when you're on your tour, okay, when you're taking your tour, you need light, and you need to bring a lamp with you. The lamp that I need you to bring is the commandment. So if you don't have the commandment, you don't have nothing to hold the Torah in, because the Torah is the light of that commandment. So if you don't follow my commandments, then you won't know. You won't have any light. When I give the light to you, the light is to do something. The light is there in order for you to understand the way and how you should go. Because the way of life is to rebuke. When you find the things that is wrong with you based on my teachings, that's what's going to discipline you, is my teachings, which come from my command. So if you won't have nothing to do with my command, you won't have nothing to do with my light, then you're going to be walking in darkness and you won't know the way of life. The way of life is a path of light, okay? Like the ultraviolet. In order to get close to me, you have to get, you have to have these boundaries set, okay? The word, Yah's word, is a lamp to our feet. This is what David had said. He said it's a lamp to my feet. The or, the light for my path. So we need this light. I have firmly sworn to keep your just rules, meaning I have sworn something. I have made a commitment to say that I have sworn by 7 myself, saying that I will what? I will keep your rulings. Okay? Because your word is a lamp, which is the command, and a light, which is the Torah. Do you see? And so Shlomo understood it when he wrote it in Mishlei that we just saw. He understood that. You guys think he wrote this, for the commandment is a lamp. That's in Mishlei, which is Proverbs 6:23, and the teaching is a light. He got that from his father. His father wrote to Helene. His father wrote to Helene. And Helene means praise. And we're going to get into what this literally means. Helene, what praise really means. Okay? So he knew that, and he understood that. And it was for them to get on their path. Because outside of the path, there is no light. And by the way, you can't take that light on any other path. I want to make this very clear. You and I cannot take a commandment of Yah in order to walk on another path. It's only good for the path that goes to life, which is Yah's way. You can't take the Torah to any other place and think it's going to work. It's not. It's made and designed for you to take a tour in your mind. We're going to discuss this word halal. Halal. I told you that David wrote Tehillim. Inside of this word Tehillim is that word halal. And you can see it by these three letters, the H, which is the Hey, the Lamed and the Lamed, which is the El and the El, Lamed, Lamed. Halal. Halal means praise, okay? So this was mentioned in our Torah portion. Chapter number 15, it said this. It says, if you unwittingly, that means you accidentally, that means you had an oversight, that means you made a mistake, that you failed to observe any one of the commandments that Yahweh has declared to Moshe, or anything that Yahweh has enjoined upon you through Moshe. So it's just about Yah declaring this to Moshe, and it talks about enjoined to Moshe on the day that Yahweh gave the commandment. Okay, and he gave it by the hand of Moshe. He declared, he spoke to Moshe, and then Moshe put it in his hand and wrote it down and gave the commandment and on through the ages. Okay, so let me read it again so we'll be clear, because I just broke it up. If you unwittingly fail to observe any one of the commandments that Yahweh has declared to Moshe, anything that Yah has enjoined upon you through Moshe, from the day that Yahweh gave the commandment and on through the ages, and then it begins to say what's going to happen. I didn't put what's going to happen here, because I think we can miss the whole understanding of what it means to go on through the ages, which is the generations. The purpose of Yah declaring anything to Moshe, okay, and which is the commandment, and upon Moshe's hand being written from the day that Yahweh gave it, okay, we need to understand that the Most High says on through, okay? That word on through is highlighted right here to this word called ha-la'ah, ha-la'ah. Within that word ha-la'ah is this root right here called hal, okay? Which, if I throw another lamed on there, is halal. So when the Most High is telling us this through Moshe, saying that your job and my job is to halal, meaning on through the ages. When I gave the commandment is not given to be done on just that day or the day after, or just for a week or for a month or for 1,000 years. The command that I've given is supposed to go onward toward the generations of your generations after ages and ages and ages and ages. So what does that look like? What does that really mean for us to go on through? Is it just, teaching? What is it? Well, halal's meaning by definition has to do with what you can see with your eyes. Okay. The first letter that is being used right here is called a hey. Okay. It's pronounced a ha, but the name of it is called hey. And a hey means to behold. It means to look. It means to see. It means to gaze. I want you to gaze as if you're gazing at a star in the sky. Okay. The lamed right here is a staff, as you already know. Okay. And it means to lead, or it means to go towards. It means to go forward. Okay. So when he's telling us that if you unwittingly, do these things against anything I said, what you're failing to do is you're failing to be what I'm asking you to be, which is a star. If I'm telling you to, and stars, by the way, were used for a guidance system like a GPS for the people who were dwelling in the lands. They didn't have GPS. So what they would do is they would follow where the stars were. They knew what this star meant, that we were in the east. This star meant When you see it over here, it means that this is this time of the season. This time it's over here, so it means these things. So they're not star worshipers, but they were used for a guidance, okay? And they were always looking towards that star to find out where to go to their destination. So, okay, so listen to this. So this star that the Most High is asking, I'm asking you to be like a star. I'm asking you not only to number like the stars, but you need to be like a star, meaning for the next generation, you need to shine. Shine what? You need to shine from my commandments. You need to make sure that my commandments are there's being light that's brought to them. You're passing this light, okay? Halal, you're passing that on to the next generation, so they can keep the light going, just like I told Aharon to make sure that he lit that lamp inside of the tabernacle and to keep it burning. I want that light to shine. So your job is to bring it to the next generation. That's what I want you to do for the ages to come. I want you to give that commandment. I want you to let that continue to go through, meaning continue to shine as a star. And what we find is, he says, if you unwittingly, meaning you made a mistake, an inadvertent sin against me, which means that you weren't shining at that moment, okay? That's all. Sometimes you shine and sometimes you make a mistake and you're not shining. But your shine is not going to come through how flashy you look and how much gold you wear or how much silver you have on or how bright your eyes are or how energetic you are from your vegetables and your fruit smoothies. I'm talking about your actions. When I'm talking about halal, I'm talking about this idea of hallelujah, because halal is in hallelujah. I'm asking that your actions have always been to bring light to me. You bring light to Yah through your actions. You bring light to Yah through your words and through your speech and your conduct and the manner in which you live your life. You bring praise to Yah through your actions and through your words, and also the songs that you sing. So it's reflective. This light is supposed to be part of us because we're people of light. You can look at, there's an article that I read from a nutritionist that said that they put somebody under a certain light or whatever, and they can see that human beings are actually beings of light. And it depends on what you eat. You have a certain amount of vibration that causes you to either illuminate or you kind of go down. Okay. So that's a whole nother article I'll share with you a little bit later, where this woman said that we're beings of light, and they can actually test that and see that. But Yah has said also too, that when you're dealing with me, you're going to have to operate on a higher frequency, which means that your light's going to have to literally shine. I'm not talking about the light in the New Testament, let your light shine. You know, I'm not asking you to do that. What I'm saying is you live the way that you're supposed to live, and you're bringing praise and you're bringing honor and you're bringing shine to me through the way that you live your life. But you can only do that is when you're touring your mind. You have to go through the recesses. You have to go through the boundaries of your mind. So going back to, he talks about speaking to the sons of Israel and instruct them to make for them fringes, which is zitzit, on the corners of their garments throughout the ages, and let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. We dealt with the tekeleth. Now we're going to deal with the corner. I want you to understand that those corners are called kanaf. So the actual corners of your garments, okay, which is a box again, and you're inside the box. Those corners right there are what they call kanaf. I should actually do it like that. You understand? So what it really is that I want you to have wings on you. I'm putting wings on you because that's what the corners mean. They're not just borders, they're wings. Okay. So you say, well, Akika, why would you tell us this? Well, simply because the Most High wants you to know that I'm putting wings on you. When you're wearing your tzitzit, you got wings on. That's what you have. You have wings. Okay. And here's something to show you the significance of your wings. Okay. Seraphs, the seraphim, which are the fiery ones, stood in attendance. This is a vision that Isaiah had when they asked a question, who shall go for us? And he said, send me. He says, Shalach, send me. He says, in attendance, where each one has 6 wings. 2 were covering the face, 2 were covering the body, and 2 were to fly with. They got wings. And these are heavenly divine beings that are fiery beings with wings. And one would call to the other, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. That was a majestic call that they would call to each other, Yahweh of heaven's armies, whose glory fills all the earth, going back to what Yah said in our Torah portion, that as surely as I live, I will fill all the earth with my glory. That's what they say. And they have wings. I looked, and lo, a stormy wind came, and sweeping out of the north, a huge cloud and flashing fire, surrounded by a radiance. And in the center of it, and in the center of the fire, a gleam of as of amber. And in the center of it were as also the figures of 4 creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the figures of human beings. However, each one had 4 faces. Each of them had 4 wings. This is a vision that Ezekiel saw with these beings that look like humans. They have 4 faces and they had 4 wings. The cherubim, what they call cherubim, the cherubim shall have their wings spread out above, shielding the cover with their wings, talking about the Ark of the Covenant, and they shall confront each other, the faces of the cherubim being turned toward the cover. They're shielding with their wings the altar, or excuse me, the kapareth, which is the lid that's on top of the Ark of the Covenant. They have wings. Wings are used to cover. Wings are used to protect. Wings are for the borders. They're the borders of one. So the Most High has put borders, and he's telling you and I that we need to cover your mind, protect your mind, protect your borders of your mind. That's why I've given you the tzitzit. Thou shalt be the friends, the tzitzit, to look at and recall all the commandments of Yahweh and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful prostitution, the lustful urge, which is prostitution. I put here the Hebrew down underneath. I don't expect you to read it, but I do want you to look at the word that I did highlight, and you'll see our word for today, which is called Thor. That word Thor is talking about following. So what it really should say is so that you do not tour. Okay, so I don't want you to take a tour outside of this. I want you to recall the commandments of Yahweh. This is the purpose of your wings that you're supposed to be wearing every single day. And I only want you to recall them. I want you to observe them. Okay? Because I know that's inside of you, inside your mind and inside your eyes of prostitution. Okay? If you don't recall the commandments of the Most High, right? And we know that the commandment is what? The commandment is a lamp. And what's inside the lamp is the light. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you don't have a lamp and you don't have any light, and you go and you tour your heart and your mind, which is your heart, outside of having a lamp with the Torah, you are going to follow your lustful urges, your prostitution that's inside of you. Everything outside of the commandments, I want to be clear today, everything outside of Yahweh's commandments is prostitution. If one is not following the Torah of Yahweh and they're not recalling the commandment, they don't have any light. You're going to automatically go and follow, you're going to tour your own heart and with your eyes, the lustfulness of oneself, of the urge that you have, because you already have it inside of you to be of a prostitute. That means that you're going to go and start seeking others besides Yah. So in the path of Yahweh, there's light. You can't take the tour without the light. That's the point. Everyone without the commandment in Yah's eyes has a prostitute's urge. That's what they have, prostitution. I want to talk to you about one of the people that we found in our Torah portion called Kalev. Kalev meant a dog, right? But also, too, going back to his name right quick, this first part is a kof right here, which is the palm of the hand, okay? Which is to be like in the Hebrew. This means like as a preposition. And this right here is lev, which is mind, or what you would know as a person's heart, okay? So the mind of the heart. So what the Most High is saying that Caleb had a mind like his. He's like-minded. And he's telling you and I that you and I need to be like Caleb. That's why he mentioned him, because he wants us to be like him. He wants us to have a like mind. So when you look at his name, it means not only a dog, right? Because you say, I don't want to be a dog. You should want to be a dog, because dogs are loyal and dogs are obedient. Dogs are they're man's best friend. They're faithful. They'll die with you. They're ready to go all the way. Okay. So like-minded. That's what Kalev means. Lev here is heart, and Ka means like. So like the mind, like the heart of Caleb. Because if you don't have this type of mind, then you're doomed. But my servant Kalev, because he was imbued with a different spirit and remained loyal to me, now you can see the dog in him will I bring into the land that he entered, and his offspring shall hold it as a possession. He had a different spirit. He's the only one going into the land besides Yehoshua. Most High didn't say, but my servant Yehoshua and Caleb. He said Caleb. He said Caleb or Kalev. Kalev. He had a different type of spirit. So when we talk about a different type of spirit, okay, I wanted to bring out the Hebrew on it to let you know that he ain't just talking different. That right there is called a ruach, which is the spirit, and then akar, breath. Okay, this word akar means another. Okay, it also means after. It also has in it an idea of anger. It also has the idea of judgment. It also has to do with the last days. What this man possessed is something that the Most High is telling the children of Israel today, that you have to have this type of spirit, okay? Meaning that you have to have one that's willing to follow after the Most High. And what he means by that is when Yah had opened up in verse number 1421, it says that as surely as I'm alive, the whole earth will be filled with my glory. That's your theme. You should know that Yah's glory is going to fill the earth. And that means when his glory fills the earth, then anyone who's in opposition against him will not succeed. So what it is you have to have a different type of mindset. You have to be pushed, because a ruach is a wind. It's not just a spirit. It means that Caleb was moved differently. That means that his wind traveled differently. His walk was different, because ruach has to do with path. That's what it has to do with a pathway, because when wind blows, it blows on certain paths. Okay? When a person is following the Most High, they have a prescribed type of path that they follow every day. They have what you would call a schedule. You know, kind of like my good friend Dr. Red tells me that he has things that he does at a certain period of time when he's getting prepared for the Shabbat. He knows this is what it is, him and his family. They have a prescribed path that they follow. And they stick to the path. All of you, you're on your path because you're here on Zoom today, because this is the path that you wanted to walk on. Why? Because you're getting taught. I'm not giving you any religious stuff. I'm telling you what it is. I'm showing you agricultural definitions. I'm teaching you the language. I'm teaching you what the Most High is saying, which is true. And he's telling us that as long as you keep doing this and you're still on this path, and you have this prescribed, and you have, they call it path, it's prescribed, but it's also too, for those who us want to know, it's called a routine. You should wake up in the morning at a certain time and read your Torah portion in order for you to be consistent and to be steady. You can't do the weaving in and weaving out. You got to maintain a certain level, okay, in order to be like. Because if you're not like this in particular person we're talking about, then you too won't go in, because what we're talking about is the mind. So Kalev had a different type of mind, okay? Kalev hushed the people before Moshe and said, let us by all means go up, and we shall gain possession of it, for we shall surely overcome it. I took this out of Bamidbar 13:30 because I wanted to point out to you that when you have that type of mindset and that type of spirit, like Kalev, right? He silenced the people. He hushed them. So be quiet for a second. And then he makes this declaration, let us by all means go up. I highlighted go up because that means to ascend, which is Olah. That means I want to elevate. We've been talking for the last several weeks about elevation. We cannot elevate Yah if we ourselves are not elevated, going past our sins. He understood that if he did not ascend, then there is no possession of anything. You and I have to ascend in order to gain possession of anything. And the thing that you and I are trying to gain possession of and gain control over is our minds. And also, too, letting you know that you can overcome whatever is inside of your mind. Okay, they had to deal with the thing of the lands, which are the people. They had to deal with the giants. They had to deal with the cities being fortified and tall walls. They had a whole bunch of obstacles, and they were faced with a lot of opposition. But in spite of the opposition, Caleb had a different type of mind. He had a different type of spirit. He understood something. He knew in his mind that I can overcome it. And how can I overcome this? The only way that you and I can ever overcome something is if we would ascend up to Yah in our minds. You have to ascend. If you don't ascend, you're not going to overcome. You're going to become a coward, and you're going to die. Yah's not looking for cowards. He's not looking for people to come and discourage others. He's not looking for cowards. By you being on this path, you cannot be a coward following the Most High, like these men here. The other men who had gone up with him said, we cannot attack the people, for it is stronger than we. A bunch of cowards. They didn't want to face the opposition. Remember, there was nothing but a bunch of crybabies. I don't care how big and tall and strong they were. I don't care how big their muscles were. I didn't care how wonderful warriors they were. I don't care how many thousands of them there were. I don't care how long their beards were. I didn't care how many children they had. They were all cowards in the face of opposition. They asked the question, why is Yahweh taking us out to this land to fall by the sword? Coward. Our wives and children will be carried off. Coward. It would be better of us to go back to Egypt. Coward. And they said to one another, let us head back for Egypt. Coward. You see, it's easy to go back in our minds to what's comfortable for us. It's easy to go back to oppression. It's easy to go back to the things that have kept us captive and held us captive. It's easy to go back. It takes courage to walk with Yah and not be a coward. It takes courage to face your opposition. It takes courage to face those things that are inside of your mind and have to put them down and to destroy them by the power of the Most High Yah. I ain't talking religion. I'm talking for real. You know you have thoughts. You know you have things and ideas that have been holding you hostage for years and years and years. Face your opposition. Face your giants. Face these things that are occupying your borders within your mind. Go in there with the Torah, with the light of Yahweh. Go in there with Yahweh with you. None except Kalev, the son of Yefuneh, shall see it. To see what? The land. And to him and his descendants I will give the land on which he set foot, because he remained loyal to Yahweh. And that word right there means the Malay, the Akore Yahweh. That means that he was fully following Yah. He fully followed after the Most High. He had that type of desire to follow after the Most High. And Malay basically means not only to be full, okay, because that's what it is from just a basic understanding, is to mean full or fully, okay, but also means to confirm. So Caleb was confirming what Yah had said. If Yah said that I'm bringing you somewhere, don't be stupid, don't be discouraging, don't be lazy, don't be disgruntled about it, don't be confused. Be a person who's willing to confirm Yah's words. If you have the light of the Torah with you, you should be able to look in your life and say, you know what? I know that Yah said this about this in particular thing that I'm experiencing. I'm going to have to deal with it. This was an issue of Israel having to deal within themselves. And only the two that were able to confirm it was Yehoshua and Caleb. They confirm Yah's message. And we have to do that when you tour your mind. There's another person I want to mention to you that's found in our Haftarah. Her name is Rakav. Okay. And Rakav is, by definition, this word means to spread out. It means to spread out or to become open wide. Okay. Did I put wide? I'm tripping. Open wide. Her name is Rakav. Rakav. Okay. The Ra is that R right there. You see that? So you know that. That CH is right here. Okay. And then this bet right here is right here. That V sound. Rakav. And he just put those little vowel points in there that you can see. So you say, well, where's the I at? They're right here for you guys. Here's the I and here's the I. Here's the I and here's the I. Here's the R, here's the R. Here's the CH, here's the CH. Here's the V, here's the V. It's not hard. See? Rakav. That's the name of this woman. Okay. What was Rakav? Well, in our Haftarah, it tells us that Rakav was a prostitute. Yehoshua, the son of Nun, secretly sent 2 men from Shittim as spies. They're going to do a tour now, saying, go tour the region of Jericho. So they set out and they came to a house of a certain prostitute named Rakav. And they lodged there. They lodged there. Okay. So they went to this prostitute and she said to the men, because of course, I don't have the whole narration here, but there was the king had found out that these spies came and he sent out messengers to her to say, hey, bring those men to me. And she said, they're gone. She hid the men on top of her house and she covered them with flax. Okay. And after she went back up there and the spies were hidden and the people who were looking for them went out into the land and closed the gate behind them. So lock out them. And if they're there, to lock them in. So she said to the men, I know that Yahweh has given the country to you, because dread of you has fallen upon us, and all the inhabitants of the land are quaking before you. I put here this idea of her knowing. When people say that no one knows about Yahweh except for the children of Israel, they're mistaken. The reason why this woman knew about Yahweh is she understood based on some experiences that has happened, and she had some reports. Okay. She got a message, like the city of Jericho, they got a message about Yahweh. So she already had a heads up on them. Okay. But this prostitute had a different type of mindset. So remember, Yah told us, I need you to wear your tzitzits so that you won't become a prostitute and go after your lust. Okay. So what changed her mind? The prostitute's mindset can be changed. The person who's open wide and giving themselves to everybody can actually sit back and say, okay, I'm going to reassess and we'll look at some things. She had enough sense to say that I know that Yahweh has given the country to you. Well, how did she know this? And the children of Israel didn't know it. Interesting. So literally a whore had enough sense to know that what Yah has given to the children of Israel. Was she ever given the Torah?
No.
Yes. No. Does anybody sit down with her and tell her the laws, the statutes, and the commandments?
No.
No, you never had a priest show up and give them anything. Did anyone come in to tell them to repent? No. So what caused her to know this? Well, we're going to discover that. So in discovery, we know that she knew this and she believed this. And she said, for we have heard, that means they heard a report how Yahweh dried up the waters of the Sea of Reeds. Oh, so when Yah said that I'm going to make my name known throughout the whole world, he really meant that. So the reputation of Yah has already spread to these places. Okay. This is the reason why Moshe told the Most High, hey, don't kill Israel, because if you kill him, everybody's going to know that you killed him. They're all going to start talking that you didn't have the power to bring them in. So based on Moshe saying that about the Most High said, okay, I'll forgive them, but yet their children are going to bear the consequences. But these people, Yah's enemies, had heard about what Yahweh did for Israel at the Red Sea. And for when you left Egypt, they knew about that. And what you did is Sikon and Og, meaning these two kings, the Amorite kings across the Jordan, whom you doomed. So they already knew this. Okay. They knew about these wonders of the Most High. Remember, the Most High said, I'm not going to bring the children of Israel into the land, not one of these people that have seen my glory about what I did for the children of Israel and the signs that I've done in Egypt. I'm not going to let them see the land. And he's making reference to the Yam Suf, which is the Sea of Reeds. Okay, and I'll explain to you what that means in a second. So this prostitute says, when we heard about it, we lost heart, meaning our minds have melted and no one had any more spirit left because of you. For Yahweh, your Elohim, is the only Elohim in heaven above and on the earth below. She made a confession. They lost their minds. Okay, when I found out the truth about who we were and who we are, I lost my mind. When it says lost, it means that my mind, my heart melted inside of me. I knew at that moment that I was doomed. And the reason why I knew I was doomed is because I have not kept the laws and the statutes and the commandments of the living Elohim. I knew I was doomed when I found out that if I broke the Shabbat, anybody treated ordinarily shall be put to death. I know that I was going to be put to death. But I thank Yah for his chesed. I thank him for his mercy. And I thank him for his compassion. And I thank him for all of the attributes that he has in his name, that he is forgiving, that he is compassionate, he is full of truth. But I also know that he says, I'm not going to acquit the wicked. I'm not going to let the wicked or anybody that's guilty go free. Okay. So no one had any more spirit left because of you for what Yah has done for them. Yahweh, your Elohim, is the only Elohim in heaven above and on the earth below. This is what Christians don't realize. Okay. There was no more Ruach. I put it right here about the melting, because that's what they lost their heart of the Ruach. They lost their way, their path. They couldn't stand Kwama. They couldn't feel good about what's going to happen to them. They knew the doom was going to come. And guess what? The nations that are going to hear about what Yah has done, the same thing is going to happen to them. Now, since I have shown kindness to you, this is the whore, the prostitute, talking to the men. Swear to me by Yahweh that you in turn will show kindness to my family. Provide me with an oath of truth that you will spare the lives of my father, mother, brothers, and sisters, and all who belong to them, and save us from death. Salvation for them or her family was given by her because of her response. When those men came to her place, okay, it's interesting that the spies turned into a place of prostitution. Okay, but they showed her kindness. And she said, I want you to swear an oath by Yahweh. Okay. They provided her not with just the cord of the scarlet that they hung the thread out from the window. That was a sign. But what they did swear to her was an oath of truth. And the only oath of truth can be done by Yah. Yah's oath will save us from death. That's what Yah is telling us. If Yah has made us a promise, you can guarantee that he's going to fulfill it. Okay. But they also gave her some conditions. If your family's not in his house, when we come, we owe them nothing. Anybody of theirs is outside of this house, just like you went on Pesach, they're dead. And if you break any vow that you've made with us, any oath of truth, and you let them discover where we are, the deal's off. You understand? So the Most High is letting us know within the same context that if you and I break our word to him, deal is off. The deal is off. You see? It's off. If you and I are not in a place that we need to be with men being safety, your own blood will be upon your own head. The Yam Suf is the place in which this prostitute mentioned. Most High mentions it through the Psalms. It says that our ancestors forgot about this. This is very critical. I mentioned it earlier this week, but I want to just touch base on it. I saw something. When the Most High talked to the children of Israel in the Bamidbar, he's talking to them what came out of their mouth. Okay? What came out of the mouth of the children of Israel. That's why when they're in the wilderness, it's called the mouth, because they spoke some things. Okay? So the Most High is going to say something to them. Most High says, say to them, as I live, again, Yah lives, I will do to you just as you have urged me. Meaning that which came out of your mouth is what I'm going to do to you. Whatever you and I say, Most High takes account of it. He said that they have tempted me 10 times. The 10 times of tempting him was saying, where is he? If he's this, let him do this. This, where's the water? Where's the food? Where's this? If he's really Elohim, let him do this. Let him do. They kept saying it over and over. And they kept saying something about dying. So the Most High says, but your carcasses shall drop in the wilderness while your children roam the wilderness for 40 years, and they're suffering for your faithlessness. Okay? That faithlessness is the prostitution. That word right there is the same word used for prostitute. They did prostitute themselves with their mind until the last of your carcasses is down in the wilderness. I'm going to let you fall because that's what you've been asking for. You've been asking for that. And because now that the Amalekites and the Canaanites occupy the valleys, this is after Yah made his judgment. He says, start out then tomorrow and march into the wilderness by the way of the Sea of Reeds, going back to the place where I delivered you. I thought to myself, Yah sure is, he did a cold piece of work. Yah has done a cold piece of work. And what do I mean by that? Meaning like the Most High, after he made his judgment and said that you guys are going to fall in the desert, he tells Moshe to take the children of Israel back past these people and back past these people, and then I want you to go right here. The reason why he's sending them there is that because that's where he saved them. He's reminding them by bringing them back to this place, on that road to that place, that you remember I saved you before. And you said, no, you couldn't deliver me. So in the Sea of Reeds, I destroyed the armies of Pharaoh. I got rid of your enemies. You said I couldn't take care of the people that were in this place, but I got rid of a whole army for you. Okay. And they said to Moshe, right? Because this is their, and this, listen, if you look down at the bottom, this is in Shemot 14, just to kind of remind us why they died the way that they did. It wasn't the Most High was being mean to them. They've asked for death. They've been asking for it from the beginning. They said to Moshe, was it for the one of graves in Egypt that you brought us out to die in the wilderness? They said that in Shemot 14. They said this just a few days after they got delivered, after, Egypt, after the miracles, after the, killing the firstborn, after them walking out, after them, seeing the plagues. Have you brought us out here to die? What you have done to us, taking us out of Egypt. They didn't want to leave. Is this not the very thing that we told you in Egypt, saying, let us be? They've always wanted to stay there. And we will serve the Egyptians, for it's better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. They would rather go back into captivity. You see, but this is all a pretext. It's all a pretext because they don't want to follow Yah. When you find out that you have to follow the Most High, sometimes people say it's better for us to continue to be slaves. They knew that they were not going to die in the wilderness. They were just using this as a excuse. That's it. These are nothing but excuses. That's it. That's it. See, they didn't have any confidence in the Most High. And the one thing that they didn't want to do is they didn't want to keep his laws and statutes and the commandments. And better yet, what they didn't want to do is take the Torah. That's what they don't want. They don't want to take the Torah. They don't want to tour their minds. They know that there's some changes that have to be made, and people of that generation didn't want to do that. They didn't want to change their minds. But Moshe said to the people, have no fear, stand by and witness the deliverance which Yahweh will work for you today. For the Egyptians to whom you see today you will never see again. Yahweh will battle for you, and you hold your peace. I put the word Eth Yeshua, Yahweh. People ask, where's the name of Yeshua in the Old Testament? It's here. But guess what? This Yeshua right here is not the person. This Yeshua right here is the deliverance of destruction of all of our enemies. And I'm not just talking physical, okay? I'm talking about mental. The ones who call the anguish to you, the ones who affect you spiritually. You can't have the physical without the spiritual and the mental. Because when a person of Israel looks at themselves, they don't see themselves in three different compartments. They see themselves as one. When you talk about the soul, you're talking about the entire being of a person. We don't compartmentalize and say, well, he just died for my sins, but still I'm yet dealing with sin and I'm still being oppressed by my enemies. That means that they're confused. The only salvation that you and I will ever see will be the one that comes from Yahweh, and it will be deliverance. And guess what? You will never see it again. So here's the kicker. If this person, Yeshua, in the New Testament is delivered, say you will never see again, obviously you should never see sin again. And ask yourself, do you see sin? Do you see sin in people's lives? Do you see sin in the world? Do you see hunger? Do you see oppression? Do you see any of these things? So if he did deliver anybody, he didn't deliver us from any of the things that we're still being affected by today. He didn't deliver us from COVID. He didn't deliver us from, job insecurity and food insecurity. He hasn't delivered us from, oppression. He hasn't delivered none of us. But that's the salvation that Yah's talking about, is his salvation. Okay. Again, Yah's ultimate goal is for the Egyptians to know that I am Yahweh. When I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his riders. What can I say to you today? I can say to you today that you and I are going to have to understand that if we're going to continue to be the people that seek the Most High, we're actually going to have to go and we're going to have to Shalach. We're going to have to take ourselves on a tour. And the tour that you need to look at is your mind. And I would not recommend that you go without the Torah or the light or the commandment of Yah. If you do, you're going to be walking in darkness and you're going to fulfill the passions and the urges and the lust that you have. There's no way outside of it. The Torah itself is the one that corrects us in our behaviors and our manner of life and our conduct. The Most High is showing us clearly that the children of Israel has failed to see the glory of the Most High. They didn't want to bring about the glory of the Most High. They did not want the whole earth to be filled with his glory. They were concerned about themselves. And so us as the descendants of these people and those who have joined themselves to the Most High through these people, and through the commandment of the Most High and the Torah, need to understand that our goal, first and foremost, before we go to the land, is to change the landscape of our own lives. You won't go into the land if you have the mind of those 10 men who came out from touring everything and they saw with their eyes and they knew that changes had to be made. And instead of facing the opposition, they became cowards. And when first thing a coward does is they discourage others. When Yah is on your side and Yah has been with you throughout your life and he spared you and he's helped you in whatever way he has, and he showed great kindness and mercy to us. He's saying to us today that I don't need to do any other miracles for you. It wasn't the miracle of the Sea of Suf that I wanted you to be fascinated with. I only want you to remember that I'm with you. The power of me is with you. unfortunately, your ancestors have caused you to bear the burden. You're suffering because of the prostitution of your ancestors. Like I just mentioned, that you're suffering and you're bearing the consequences of your ancestors because they wanted to prostitute themselves, because they refused to do the things that I asked them to do. As a result of this, as you notice in chapter number 15, in the last, I think, segment of the teaching, it talked about a man who went out on the Shabbat and picked up sticks. This is after they were told that they're not going into the land. And at that moment, he didn't care. Even though he was going to die, and he knew that he was one of the people who were going to be plagued to die in the wilderness for 40 years, he figured that the laws and statutes and the commandments of Yah didn't really apply anymore because he had given up and said, you know what? I don't have any problem picking up these sticks. I'm dead anyway. Well, he lost his life before his time. They took him, they put him in guard and asked the Most High what to do with him. And the Most High said, take him out and stone him. Take him outside of the camp. The laws of Yah don't stop. Most High tells us in chapter number 15, he opens up to talk about these offerings when you go into the land. I thought, well, why would you mention the land if you just told them they're not going to the land? Why would you continue to talk about if someone made a mistake and what type of offerings they're supposed to make? What do you get out of that? Most High is telling us that I'm going to receive glory. I receive glory even from your mistakes. Because every time you bring an offering to me, it means that a commandment is being followed. Every time you bring a minkat to me, or you get a bull and a goat or a sheep or whatever, and you made a mistake, it shows my mercy and my kindness. It shows that you're following that which I prescribe to keep you alive. It magnifies and glorifies my name and my reputation. That's why, because the commandments are being brought out. The only way a person can find a mistake they made is by my commandments. If I told you something, I bring it to your attention, is because of the glory of the light of my commandments. Because I seek to have mercy. I seek to be compassionate. I seek to fulfill all the things that are pertaining to my name, all my attributes. But if you are to raise your hand against me intentionally, I am going to put you to death. If any of your descendants come against me and show opposition against me, as your ancestors have, I'm going to show you what it means to oppose me and to be in opposition against me. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to bring the descendants of those people out to the wilderness. I am going to kill them there, as I've already told you. Why? Because they have no respect and they have no fear for the mighty Yah. I give all praise and I give all honor and I give all appreciation to the Most High. And hopefully we were able to see this today. Hopefully we were able to understand what the Most High is saying about them taking that tour. Prior to this, I didn't know the significance of the tour. I didn't even understand it until after understanding, like, okay, well, it's about the borders. We have our own mind that you and I have to protect. So praise be given to our Elohim. Any questions or contributions before we get started on our cahoots?
I do.
Shalom, Akoti.
Yeah. Toda Rabbi Akika David for this lesson. It was very important to me. About courage is what I got, like Noah and Abraham and Joseph and Caleb and even you, which is one in a billions and billions in the past and present life. And there's just only a few courageous people. And they're remembered forever versus majority of people. And it's scary to be courageous. And I don't know how you become courageous. I guess you have to, that's just pretty amazing to me. And so I just want to say thank you to you for giving me a courage to stand up to my husband and my son recently and to speak with them. And I was scared of rejection. I was scared. And because of your wisdom, I was encouraged. I don't want to say courage, scared. And then it's just pretty amazing to have that courage. And that's what I learned from this lesson is these people, I don't know, it could be Yah was with them or they still had to take the effort to walk, right? Even if Yah gave us all the wisdom, we still have to make an effort to take that